Back with Joe Roark, attorney from Bryant Law Center on this edition of Legal Line, and we are talking about divorce, answering your questions at 1-888-208-6946. And Donna wants to know, I've always wondered how they calculate child support.
Okay. Child support in Kentucky is calculated according to a guideline table that takes into account both parties' gross monthly income, your income before you pay taxes, and how all your other deductions come out of it. And then factors in some costs for child care and some costs for health insurance, if there is any. And there's essentially just a number that's on the table that says if you make this much money and you have this many kids, this is what the obligation is, and that obligation is divided between the two parties according to your percentage of the gross monthly income that we started with. And so it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. It really is just a matter of calculating a number as long as you don't have a pretty high income. But that's how it's done here in Kentucky.
Kyra says, during our marriage, I saved a lot of money from my paycheck. My husband is now saying he has a right to this money. Does he have that right?
Well, he does. The law in Kentucky starts with the presumption that everything that was acquired during the marriage is now subject to division here at the time of your divorce. And it doesn't matter who got up and went to work. It doesn't matter, whose paycheck it came out of. As soon as you got married, it stopped being the husband's individual money and the wife's individual money. That money became the property of the marital estate, and that's what's being divided at the time of your divorce, which, everyone who's actually saved money, is always, unsurprisingly, been out of shape about that. But it is much better to be dividing a savings account than it is to be dividing debts that neither one of you can pay. So if you want to find a silver lining, that's it. But the short answer is yes, that is a marital asset that is probably subject to division.
Linda says, my husband and I don't really have a whole lot. We're getting divorced and are pretty agreeable upon the things that we want to split. In other words, they know how they want to divide the assets. Okay. Can they get divorced without an attorney?
You can. There is no obligation for either party in a divorce case to hire an attorney. There are some self-help forms that you can find online, or sometimes if you contact the clerk's office, they may have a copy of it. But like anything that is involved with a particular process, you still have to do it right, and the court system will hold you to all the same standards that would otherwise be held to if you had hired an attorney. And so it might be worth at least talking to somebody to make sure you've got it all buttoned up. I mean, every week at Motion Hour, we see people that are trying to do their own divorces, which they can, and not because they're not smart enough, because they aren't intelligent people, or because there's any dispute, but just because sometimes there's nothing necessarily intuitive or inherently logical about the court system, so they oftentimes forget things or leave things off, just not knowing that you had to have it there. So you can do it yourself, but it's never a bad idea to run it past a lawyer too.
Joe, got about 30 seconds left,
okay.
And an anonymous viewer wants to know, is common law marriage legal in Kentucky?
No, common law marriage no longer exists in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and I think there's only one state where it's even still recognized. So no, can't get a common law marriage.
All right, Joe Roark, and the topic has been divorce, and prior to that, Tara Swanson, we were talking about criminal defense. If you would like to review either one of these segments, give us just a little bit of time. We'll put them up under the Legal Line icon at Bryant Law Center. At WPSDLocal6.com, you can review those at that time.